Hi there, this is Nursing Education Videos. Today I will be going over the Hypochloremia and Hyperchloremia NCLEX questions quiz on registerednursern.com. I will be reading the review notes and doing the quiz at the same time. I hope this is helpful, and I hope the information is helpful for your learning. All credit for this information that I am reading goes to Sarah at registerednursern.com. Again, all credit for the information that I am reading goes to Sarah at registerednursern.com. Please refer to the websites in the description box for all credit and information. The links for the information will be included in the description box. Hypochloremia and Hyperchloremia NCLEX questions. So this quiz is for nursing students. This review quiz will test your knowledge on the causes, symptoms, and nursing interventions of hypochloremia and hyperchloremia. Before taking this quiz, you might want to review their hypochloremia and hyperchloremia lecture. Don't forget to review the hypochloremia versus hyperchloremia notes. This electrolyte imbalance is many times associated with an imbalance of sodium and bicarbonate. In addition, an imbalance of potassium will occur, especially if alkalosis or acidosis is presenting. In the notes by Sarah, registered nurse at registerednursern.com, hyperchloremia is often associated with hypernatremia. Hypochloremia is often associated with hypochloremia. It's best to have those notes at the same time. Alright, so first question. Hypochloremia and Hyperchloremia NCLEX questions quiz. Just reading it again. Which of the following does chloride not play a role in? A for digestion, B for acid balance, acid-base balance, C for fluid balance, or D for bone health. So the question is, which of the following does chloride not play a role in? It is likely D for bone health. We would go to the review notes and we can look at information here. Is chloride plays a role with acid-base balance. Chloride is also needed to make hydrochloric acid, which plays a role in food digestion. So we could cross those out. And then let's see for fluid balance. So the notes here says bicarb and potassium are also related to the balance of chloride because they all work together to balance the acid-base system and our fluid balance in the body. So which of the following does chloride not play a role in? Would be bone health. D. Okay, question number 2. A patient has a chloride level of 70 milliequivalent per liter. Which condition below can cause this type of level? A. None. This is a normal chloride level. B. Cystic fibrosis. C. Metabolic acidosis. Or D. Hypertonic fluids. So 70 milliequivalent per liter of chloride is hypochloremia. We are going to double check what the normal levels are. The normal level is 95 to 105 milliequivalent per liter. So 70 is hypochloremia. Which condition below can cause this type of level? So which condition can cause hypochloremia? So we cross off A. It is not a normal chloride level. Cystic fibrosis can cause someone to have a lot of chloride in their sweat. Metabolic acidosis is where your pH is less than 7.24, I would think. So I was wrong. The normal arterial blood gas is 7.35 to 7.45. So from the review notes is that bicarb and chloride are opposite of each other. So if there's a high bicarbonate, then there will be low chloride. And an increase in bicarbonate levels would lower chloride, which would mean if someone had a high bicarbonate, their pH level would be high. So that would be alkalosis versus acidotic. So if someone has metabolic acidosis, we would think that their bicarbonate would be low. So if their bicarbonate is low, then their chloride would be high. The possible answer would be, we'll double check. So the next answer is hypertonic fluids. That is where the patient is receiving a high intake of sodium IV fluids. Sodium chloride has a lot of chloride in it. That would cause hyperchloremia. So it would not be D. The answer could be cystic fibrosis. We will double check. So it does say here the causes of hypochloremia is cystic fibrosis due to the high amounts of chloride in their sweat. So the answer would be B, cystic fibrosis. Then question number 3, a patient is presenting with metabolic alkalosis. So they would have a higher pH. Their pH would be higher than 7.45. Because normal pH is between 7.35 to 7.45. According to ncbi.nlm.nih.gov, arterial blood gas. So if they are metabolic alkalosis, it means they have high bicarbonate, which means they would likely have low chloride levels because bicarb and chloride are opposite. I think that's the word. Because they have an opposite relationship due to how each ion shifts in the red blood cells for proper gas exchange. That is the proper definition. So if someone's in metabolic alkalosis, they are likely to have low bicarbs. So the question goes, lab results are back and the patient's bicarb level is 53 milliequivalent per liter. What other lab result would correlate with this finding? So a normal chloride is 95 to 105. They're likely to have high chloride. So the first answer, chloride 73 milliequivalents per liter. B, chloride 190 milliequivalent per liter. C, potassium 6.5 milliequivalent per liter. Or D, chloride of 100 milliequivalents per liter. It is likely B, chloride of 190 milliequivalents per liter, because that would be hyperchloremia. If we're going to go look at the normal bicarb levels, it doesn't show it really quickly here. Okay, found it. Normal bicarb level is 22 to 26 milliequivalent per liter. Again, this one is on the National Library of Medicine, National Center for Biotechnology Information, ncbi.nlm.nih.gov/book/nbk536919/. So the answer is likely B, a chloride level of 190 milliequivalents per liter. Question 4. You're assessing a patient's morning lab work. The patient has a chloride level of 98. So that is a normal chloride level because 95 to 105 are the normal ranges. The nurse interprets this finding as A, hypochloremia, B, normal, C, hyperchloremia. It is B, normal. And then question 5. Which patient below is at risk for developing hyperchloremia? So greater than 105 milliequivalents per liter. A 25-year-old with cystic fibrosis. That's likely hypochloremia because they're sweating out chloride. A 55-year-old post-op from abdominal surgery that has a nasal gastric tube with continuous suction. This is likely hypochloremia because they are removing fluids. C, a 62-year-old prescribed IV loop diuretic for the treatment of heart failure. So as a diuretic, they are likely to be hypochloremia. Then D, a 53-year-old who received several large boluses of normal saline. So normal saline is NaCl. That's sodium chloride. So having several large fluid boluses of normal saline, so sodium chloride, they are at risk for developing hyperchloremia. So that would be D. I would choose D. Question number 6. True or false? When metabolic acidosis occurs, the bicarb level is decreased and hyperchloremia can develop. So bicarb low equals to chloride high, because they have an opposite relationship. And so hyperchloremia is high chloride levels. In metabolic acidosis, because the body is acidotic, they are likely to have a low bicarb level. And so hyperchloremia can develop. That would be true. A. Seven. Lactated ringers can be prescribed to treat A. Hypochloremia, B. Hyperchloremia, C. Metabolic alkalosis, or D. None. This IV fluid is not typically prescribed for chloride imbalance disorders. I think lactated ringers is most likely prescribed to treat hyperchloremia, but we'll double check. So it says here nurse's role in treatment for hyperchloremia, which would be lactated ringers. Because lactate turns into bicarb, and with bicarb it lowers chloride levels. So lactated ringers could be prescribed to treat hyperchloremia because of the bicarb, which would bring down chloride levels. And then question number 8. A patient has a chloride level of 190 milliequivalent per liter. That is hyperchloremia, because normal chloride levels is 95 to 105. Which foods below should the patient avoid? Select all that apply. Salt and chloride usually follow each other. So that's why it's sodium chloride. So hyperchloremia and hypernatremia are often together. If we look for foods with high amounts of salt, they would likely have chloride in them. So the foods below: A for carrots, B for canned beans, C for table salt, D for tomato juice, E for olives, F for chicken. So canned beans has a lot of salt, we choose that. C, table salt is salt. Tomato juice might be one. E, olives, because they have a lot of salt content in them. And then chicken, tomato juice, these two could be one of them. We'll double check over here. So sources of chloride-rich foods is table salt, tomatoes, olives, seafood, processed meats, and canned foods. So it would be including tomato juice. So the answers would be B, canned beans, C, table salt, D, tomato juice, and E for olives. And question number 9. A patient has a chloride level of 63 milliequivalent per liter. That would be hypochloremia, because 95 to 105 is the normal level. The patient is experiencing lethargy, confusion, spasms of the muscles, and has a blood pressure of 90/54. What other lab finding below correlates with these findings? So they're wondering what you would find with hypochloremia. So a potassium of 4 milliequivalents per liter. That's a normal potassium level, because that's 3.5 to 5.0 is the normal level. Potassium of 8 is hyperkalemia. Sodium of 115 is hyponatremia, because normal levels is 135 to 145. And then sodium of 190, that's hypernatremia. Again. We would see hyponatremia with hypochloremia. So it is probably answer C. Then question number 10. Which type of IV fluid below can be prescribed to treat a patient with a chloride level of 69 milliequivalent per liter? That would be hypochloremia, because normal levels is 95 to 105. So which type of IV fluid can be prescribed to treat a patient with chloride level of 69 milliequivalents? So to treat a patient with hypochloremia, you would want to bring the chloride back to the normal levels. You would probably want to give the patient chloride. So A, sodium bicarbonate, which is not correct, because more bicarb equals to less chloride, and you want to increase the chloride. B, normal saline is NaCl, so sodium chloride. C is lactated ringers. Lactate, according to the notes, becomes bicarb, and then bicarb would decrease chloride, and that would not be good in this situation, because you want to increase chloride. And then 5% saline is also sodium chloride. So it's either B or C. We will double check on the notes. So it says here, normal saline of 0.9% is to be administered to treat hypochloremia. So the answer would be B. Then we can double check what 5% is. Well, let's double check if these answers are correct first. right. So my results here, it says your grade is A. Percentage of what you got right was 90. So we didn't get all the answers correct, but let's find out what happened. Okay. So the incorrect one here was question number 3. Patient with metabolic alkalosis, so a high bicarb. Yeah, I wrote B, chloride of 190, instead of a chloride of 73, which would be hypochloremia. So a patient presenting with metabolic alkalosis, they would have high bicarb. So having a high bicarb, they would have low chloride levels, and 95 to 105. So yeah, it's good to review the question and then review what happened. So the correct answer would be A, and I chose B. However, we got still an A, 90%. So thank you for listening. I hope this information was helpful and engaging. Please feel free to subscribe and click the like button, and go to registerednursrn.com for more information, and check out their YouTube channel as well. I hope everyone has a good day. Thank you. Thanks again.